The Spanish flu, that pandemic was not a brand new virus. It was a virus that hadn't been around for 70 years. So in other words, some of these old people had antibodies from 70 years ago, so they didn't get the virus. This COVID-19 is brand new. There's nobody with antibodies that they know of right now. Okay, this is brand new. It's a mutated virus. Okay, but I used to get sick all the time when I travel on planes. So after I started traveling on a regular basis, instead of 8 times a year, maybe 8 times a month, things changed. I didn't get sick anymore. But I wonder if travel went back down to 8 times a year, would I start getting sick? I'm here to tell you right now, if I got sick every time I traveled, I'd be done. I wouldn't do it anymore. I'd find something else to do. I'm not getting sick every time I'm on a plane. I'm not doing that. And most people wouldn't either. Many people wouldn't either, okay? Now, if all the numbers break out the way they are, okay, and we have anywhere from, what were the numbers? Let me give you the numbers again. I want to read them. I don't want to. Between 40,000 and 3.6 million. That's who's going to die from this COVID-19 virus. So there's a good chance that a few people that you know are going to die. Okay. And actually, I think what I'm thinking about, and I'm being very selfish about this, are my parents. I'm very fortunate my parents are still alive. They're both in their 80s, and they're not in good health. They've got a lot of health problems. So they're old with lots of health problems. Bottom line, if they get this, there's a good chance they won't walk away from it. And that's scary for me. We're all going to lose somebody that we know. That will be sobering. And think about it. If you've lost somebody to something like that, you think twice before you poke fun at it. You think twice before you think to yourself, well, this is no big deal. This is just like a cold. We should just be tough about this. Be Americans, be tough, and just fight it head on, and just don't let it change your life. If it kills somebody that you know and love, that's sobering. You're not going to take that stance anymore. Most people won't anyway. So we talked about business travel, okay? And people, I think, are going to back way off of business travel. In fact, travel in general. So it's going to affect the travel industry. What about going to a ball game? Because all sporting events have been canceled. I'm sorry. All sporting events have been suspended. That's the term they're using. I don't think they want to use the word canceled because maybe because legally they'd have to give them back all their money. That's just my personal opinion. If they cancel games, they're going to want money back. If they suspend games, maybe they can have them later and maybe they don't have to give you your money back. I don't know. But our spring training trip to Florida, in fact, that's where I should be right now, in a car going to Florida to watch the Cardinals in their spring training. We're going to pay money to watch Matt Carpenter strike out and Dexter Fowler strike out, but that's another story for another day. Spring training's been canceled. The baseball season's been put on hold. And folks, it's not going to get to 40 degrees here in St. Louis. So I'm bummed out. I could be on my way to Florida to have fun. But instead, I'm going to sit up here in St. Louis and look outside at that 39-degree rainy weather, okay? And the stock market took a big dump today, too. I lost a ton of money in the stock market last week, a couple weeks put together. So basically, they've taken away my bread and circus. The Roman poet Juvenal coined that phrase back in the 2nd century. He criticized the people because they're not paying attention to politics as they should, to the news of the day, because they're too worried about their bread and circuses. In other words, having enough food and having fun. And that's the way we are. That's how societies have always been. That's how people operate. If they've got enough food in their belly, shelter over their head, and they can go have their fun, watch their ball games, whatever, they're going to be happy. Well, there's no ball games, and the stock market has taken a dump. So our bread and circuses have been suspended. That's not a good thing. But like anyone else, I'm bummed out now, but I'm going to get over it. And I will adapt, and so will you. We'll all adapt to this. But we love our sports right now. But let me ask you a question. Will sports attendance suffer? Short term, of course, because they've banned, none of it, no sporting events are going on. No NBA, no NHL, no MLB, no NASCAR, no nothing. No MMA, no rock concerts, none of that stuff. We love our sports, but will attendance suffer in the future? Because we're all creatures of habit. We may think to ourselves, you know what? We love our sports, but do I really want to sit next to a stranger for 3 hours and have him sweat on me at a ball game? Do I really want to go do that? If we say yes or no, we don't want to do that, and we stop, what do you think is going to happen to those ball players who earn $20 million a year to hit a baseball? That's going to change. We love movies. We love our motion pictures. But we can watch all of them at home with Netflix or Amazon or any of those applications, okay? Do we really want to sit in a dirty seat that Lord knows who has sat in that seat earlier, okay? Sitting next to a stranger for 2 hours watching a movie while touching a dirty seat and then putting our hand in a bag of popcorn? Do we really want to do that anymore? We love to drink. But will we still want to go pay $10 for a cocktail in a glass that may or may not have been washed thoroughly, served by a barmaid who couldn't afford to stay home sick, so she came sick to work? Same with a restaurant. Think about who works in restaurants. Those people often don't have insurance. They don't make much money. If they're sick, they're not staying home. They're going to work. They can't afford to stay home. You want to pay that money for that food? Maybe cooked by a guy who's coughing over it, or washed by a guy who's fingering those plates who's sick, or served by a waiter or waitress who couldn't afford to stay home? Are we going to stop doing that like we used to? Same with bowling alleys. The same with pool halls. Same with rock concerts. I'll be honest. I'm not really looking forward to going to rock concerts anymore. The parking is a hassle. You can't see the people close up, except if you look at the Jumbotron. I got a TV, I can do that. I got a sound system at home that's almost as good as any rock concert. And seeing them in person, let's be honest. Do we really look at the stage? Yeah, you paid $1,000 a ticket, you do. If not, you look at the Jumbotron. It's a television set, folks, just like you have at home. In fact, the Roman Catholic Church has stopped distribution of the blood of Christ. And it was explained, look, we know the blood of Christ is perfect and can't have disease, but the vessel in which it's held is imperfect, okay? No hugs, no handshakes at church anymore, at Mass. I'm sure Protestant churches are doing the same thing. In fact, during this whole deal, you're not even obligated to go if you don't feel safe. If you think you're going to get sick or think you might be sick, they're saying stay home. 9/11 changed everything, folks. 9/11 changed everything. And so will COVID-19. Now, I don't know how it's going to change things. And I'm going to take the same attitude as the smart doctors and the professors and the historians. They don't know enough about this, and neither do I. And neither do you, by the way, okay? I'm just like the doctors and professors and lawyers and historians. I don't know, but it will change things. And who knows? It may change things for the better. Like I said, we all wear seatbelts now. That's for the better. Kids are in car seats. I was one of them that laughed at that too, but I think it's better. They're safer. I wear a helmet every time I go on a bike ride. That's a smart thing. Nobody smokes indoors anymore. Even people that smoke don't smoke indoors anymore because they know it stinks and they know it's not healthy. Those things have changed for the better. I think it's going to change things. I know it's going to change things. I'm going to embrace the whole change. I don't know how we're going to have to change, but I'm going to have to embrace it. And you'd be best served if you embraced it too. What will that change be? Don't know. But in the meantime, what's the old British saying? Stay calm and fill in the blank. You see those memes everywhere? Just be prudent. Just be smart. And embrace the change that we're all about to experience. Well, that's it. I'm done. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast. Hope it wasn't too preachy for you. I didn't try to make it preachy. I just wanted to share with you folks everything that I've learned this week by reading these articles by these smart people. That's kind of how it works. That's what I like to do with the podcast. And the podcast is on lots of different formats. iTunes, iHeartRadio, Player FM, SoundCloud, CastBox, YouTube, Spotify, the podcast app, and on and on and on and on. But the best way to get the podcast, send an email to jamesstrongshow@hotmail.com. That's all one word, jamesstrongshow@hotmail.com. Upon publication of the podcast, I will send it to your inbox in your email. You can download it, and you can listen to it at your leisure. That's it. I'm done. Try your best to have a good weekend and a good week and a safe week. And until next time, this is James Strong saying, adios.